Hi, I'm Cindy Orsburn and I'd like to take you along for an overview of my EdTech marathon at Boise State University online. I live in Peoria, Arizona, a northwestern suburb of Phoenix, and I presently am teaching 4th grade at Legend Springs Elementary in Glendale, Arizona. My present career goal is to teach social studies next year, combining my technology skills with project-based learning resources of my new 6th grade teammates. My longer goal is to find funding to allow our STEP school to employ me as a full-time technology teacher in our school. We have an outstanding school, dedicated faculty, and about 40% of our students are there on open enrollment because we have such great test scores and teachers. However, our teachers are just beginning to bring technology into their classroom, and I want to be a part of growing their technology use and giving our students a proper 21st century education. My first experience using computers began when I was in optometry school. Mostly we were learning to use spreadsheets and keep patient records online. I actually didn't enroll in the course, but my friends Lynn and Janet took the course, and I spent enough time helping them figure out their programming problems in DOS that I became intrigued with computers. My EdTech marathon actually started in the 1990s when I got my first computer, a Mac, from my husband as a gift. My husband was a consultant in industry, hospitals, and education, teaching people how to work together in participative management. We had a small consulting firm, and I worked part-time as the program and material designer in our firm. I had started doing this type of work when we were still using press type and an IBM Selectric typewriter. My primary job at that time was working as an optometrist, and eventually I became tired of asking which is better, one or two, in a dark room. I was having such a good time on my computer that I decided to return to school and got a degree in computer information systems from what is now known as DeVry University. I was disappointed in the training at DeVry, but I graduated and worked briefly for NDC Health in a division that did research for pharmaceutical companies. I was using a mainframe, learning SAS, and mostly programming in JCL or COBOL. I had really wanted to go into website design, but DeVry didn't really have competent instruction in that area, so I gave up that dream. I was not happy working in a cubicle with a machine all day, so I left when the opportunity presented itself and decided to go back to my original field of study, which had been elementary education. At that time, Arizona was growing like crazy because of the migration of people from California and Mexico. I was recertified through a post-bac program at ASU. I figured this could be a good pre-retirement job for me, and I could share my lifetime love of learning with my students. I started back into teaching in 2002. We had limited technology tools at the time, and I was teaching a group of students who had grown up with technology. I bought a digital projector to use in my class and then a digital camera. We spent more time in the computer lab, and I spent more time creating PowerPoints. I had such limited, out-of-date resources, especially for science, social studies, and math. My coursework at ASU taught me to use the internet as a way to provide my students with better information, and it was so much more engaging for them too. This led to a document camera, and finally we got laptop cards to share at each grade level. The more I used technology, the more the kids wanted to keep using it. My husband was watching 60 Minutes and told me about a program about millennials. He thought I would really enjoy the content as it sounded just like they were describing my school kids, so I went to the CBS website and watched the program. I was aware of the engagement that occurred when I taught with technology, and I thought this must be the wave of the future for teaching. I did a lot of research on millennials and educating students for the 21st century. By this time, I could not imagine not having a computer, and I set off to find a program to learn more. I tried one class online, but it was awful expensive and about writing citations primarily. I knew I needed another college degree like a hole in the head, and I wanted practical training that I could use. Then I happened to read about Boise State University online. The two-track master's degree seemed just like the education I was looking for. I talked my dad into funding me because he could use the tax deduction, I could use the money, and I was hoping to raise my school salary about $10,000 a year with this degree. I have learned so much over the last few years. I've learned to loosen up and trust my group when I work online. As a recovering perfectionist, I have had to give up more control than ever before, and to my surprise, I only had one bad experience. It wasn't at Boise State, and the real problem was the instructor more so than the other students. I thought it was a challenge when I created my local root flow folder on my computer desktop the first semester. Thank goodness I had some programming background when I took 502, or I could have been scared away. I worked so hard on that course, and when I look back now on my projects, while I can see how they are less sophisticated than what I can not create now, there is still a sense of pride in them. I had to work very hard in all of my courses while I am still teaching school at my day job. But I was so excited that I never looked back. I have given up my summer break for several years. Friday night is date night for my husband and I. The rest of the time I have to be extremely disciplined in the evening and on weekends to keep up to date with my assignments. There is no way all my work for one course gets done in 9 hours per week. I think it is important to have classes online if you plan to teach online. It gives you the experience of knowing how professional and courteous you need to be when you can only communicate online. I originally hated group work, as I like to be responsible for my own work and grades, but you need to create a sense of community in your online classroom, and you both give and get input from other students. Schedules and directions need to be very clear and concise, and thanks to Andy Hung, who made some videos just for me to help me along with my Flash final project. My courses have been so well planned, and what I needed to do was so clear that I have learned how to do that for my own students. I'd like to suggest that students write up their rationales about their projects as they complete their classes. I started seeing this the last few semesters, that some students were creating their portfolio very early in the program, and I wish I had done that myself. I was amazed at how some of the software had progressed over the last 10 years. Dreamweaver anticipates your next step in coding and eliminates some of the tediousness of writing code. I felt so powerful when I finished 502. That was what I had wanted to learn to do when I went to DeVry. They pretended to be able to teach you current programming skills, and often the faculty was trying to learn the program as they taught you. I truly felt that I always had competent instructors for my classes here at Boise. The courses are well designed and provide the experience that are needed to prepare this portfolio. It is not easy to learn technology online, and it is not for everyone, but it worked well for me. I would not use trial versions of software to produce products again, because I either lost or can't modify products I made in them. I have had so many technical glitches along the way. I had a hard drive fail and my backup was on it, so I had to recreate some stuff and some is just lost. My computer picked up a virus, even though I had an excellent protection system during 521, and it shut down my computer for weeks, so I had to replace it. I'm on my third computer since I entered the program, and I now have an external backup hard drive on all computers that I use and try to store everything in more than one place. I liked being able to personalize my program around the core classes. I was trying to complete the 3 courses for the online teaching core, and I almost made it. However, I tried taking 2 summer classes while I rehabbed from a total knee replacement, but I hadn't counted on the intensity of the physical therapy and time it took away from my classes, so I had to withdraw from 512 shortly before the end of the course. I was simply exhausted and couldn't get it all done. I also tried to get as much multimedia and different presentation platforms into my program as possible. Camtasia has turned out to be one of my favorite programs. I don't feel like I have the depth of learning in some of my coursework, particularly in Flash, that I would like to have. Flash doesn't seem to fit as a 1-semester course, and I think 2 semesters would be a better choice for this course. I had no previous experience using drawing tools, and it was tough to be in the class with people who had these skills and knew more about the coding. I usually am good at picking up coding patterns, and it just didn't happen. I would like to know more about animation, but there are new products out there that are removing a lot of the hassles inherent in learning these programming languages. I would like to learn more about Vokies and avatars and creating games. I tried Second Life, but as an upper elementary teacher, it is so inappropriate. I just received a smartboard and clickers, and I would have liked to learn more about including those two devices. I sometimes worry about staying current after I graduate. I count on Diego group information to help on this front. I have so many links that I have saved, and I look forward to having the time to organize and try them out. I would like to see other opportunities for project design and management other than just the Dick and Carey model offered as a choice. I spent so much time researching what I needed to know to complete my project, and this model doesn't prevent a format that is time or economically feasible for teachers. My husband and I created products for industry whose pockets are very deep, and even for them, this would be a very slow and costly project. Teachers really are more likely to be able to use rapid prototyping. This may be an area where there is another need for course differentiation between those of us who want an MET and the pre-doctoral candidates. When I look back over what I created over the last few years, I was astonished at how much I had done. I mostly focused on science materials. First, because it is my favorite subject, and second, because I have such poor resources to teach it. I feel empowered to create what I need as teaching materials when they don't exist, and frequently at no cost other than my own time. I use many Web 2.0 products, and I am just starting to introduce them to my teammates at school. I think one of my strengths is that I came at computers not as a technology geek, but as a teacher looking for tools. And as I am always still learning, I understand the fear, frustration, and don't intimidate those I am teaching. I like learning along with my kids and don't fear something not working. My students work with me and can often help me puzzle through problems. I work as more of a consultant rather than expert guru. We passed out clickers the other day for the first time, and one of my students said, "Wow, this is the future and it is here right now." I want that engagement, knowledge, and excitement for my students, my peers, and myself. She was right. This is the future right now, and that is where I am going.